Right now, TikTok services in the U.S. were taken down last night and now have been restored. Hear from local content creators on how this back and forth has impacted them. Also, a new movie highlighting Wisconsin farmers and the Green Bay Packers is set to hit theaters later this month, what a producer says inspired him. And we're following as we bring you to the Urban League MLK Breakfast, where local students were honored with Outstanding Young Person Awards. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Popular social media app TikTok back online today after it voluntarily shut down service in the U.S. last night, just hours before its Sunday deadline. This after a Supreme Court ruling on Friday upheld the ban, telling the company to sell. Our Ellie La Liberté breaks down what it all means.
It may seem like there's a lot of back and forth with what's going on with TikTok. So what's going on? And how are creators feeling about it?
It's been mysterious what will happen.
170 million TikTok users in the United States who on Saturday night all got this message.
How can we lose this thing that's been just positive for us and for, I think, the majority of people who have used it over the years?
Then less than 24 hours later, the app began coming back online.
I don't know what that'll bring.
Tim Beisinger and Renee Miller are both UW-Madison alumni. They started on TikTok in 2020 as the Through Hikers.
This is our first time back in Wisconsin for the holidays in 7 years.
It was kind of new, and we were having fun making videos about hiking. Nobody watched them. It was just, hey, let's make a silly video about hiking.
The pair has 2.1 million followers on TikTok, and they felt the tug-of-war over the app.
It's this big feeling of complete confusion, uncertainty.
It's a tremendously significant decision, but I think it's widely misunderstood.
According to UW-Madison journalism professor Katie Culver, the move to take TikTok from app stores stems from national security concerns.
I do have sweeping concerns about how much we have all surrendered our privacy.
Culver says TikTok asks for users access to contacts.
My data is swept up because my daughter agreed to have it swept up. I never agreed.
ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok, cannot assert First Amendment rights because it's not a U.S. corporation. And Culver isn't concerned that it sets a precedent of stifling free speech.
I have a friend who called it a dark day for the First Amendment, and I don't see it in the same way.
But for creators like the Through Hikers, the threat of losing the app is concerning.
What nobody will recreate is the TikTok community and the TikTok algorithm, which is remarkable.
And more than a loss of community, it would be a loss of income.
I think it's a concern for a lot of creators, so.
Yeah, for us, we do make money off of the app.
That concern leaving creators and users alike to attempt to find clarity over the future of the app. Reporting in Madison, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. A 19-year-old Manasha man was arrested Sunday after he allegedly set fire to an office space leased to U.S. Representative Glenn Grothman. Police said the fire occurred at 525 North Peters Avenue around 1 a.m., where Fond du Lac police, along with Fond du Lac Fire and Rescue, responded to the structure fire. FDLPD officers arrived and used their fire extinguishers to the fire to check until the fire companies arrived to put it out. The 19-year-old man reportedly admitted to starting a fire in response to recent talks of the TikTok ban. Chief Aaron Goldstein said, "We are relieved that no one was injured in the office that was occupied of the fire at the time." Switching gears now, let's get a look at your first warn forecast with the meteorologist Blaze Keller, who joins us from the weather patio. Blaze, the cold continues.
It does continue. In fact, the coldest air of the season is getting ready to move in. It'll be overhead really Monday through Tuesday morning. That's when our wind chill values are going to be their coldest, and our air temperatures are going to be their coldest as well. So the alert day conditions continue through at least Tuesday morning, but even into Wednesday. Just make sure that you're still staying bundled up, because we are still expecting those cold wind chills to be sticking around, just not as cold, especially compared to where they'll be Tuesday morning. We're underneath a cold weather advisory through noon on Tuesday, but we may see our first extreme cold warnings issued by the National Weather Service in Milwaukee as we go Monday night into Tuesday because of those very cold wind chill values we are anticipating. Waking up on, these are our current wind chills. It feels like anywhere between 15 to 20, almost 30 degrees below zero in some spots. But as we're waking up on Monday, it is going to feel Once again, very cold, and then the coldest air is set to be here as we go into your Tuesday morning. Most of us feeling at least 30 degrees, if not colder, below zero. Some of us may even approach that 40-degree below zero wind chill mark. It's 3 degrees below zero in Madison, and it's a balmy 32 degrees in Anchorage. That is where our warm air is. It's actually warmer in the Arctic Circle there in Fort McPherson than it is here in Madison. So we took their cold air. While they warm up, we're going to be cooling on down. There's a look at our forecast for tonight. A couple of degrees to about 10 degrees below zero with even colder wind chill values. We'll track out a few snow chances in the full forecast.
Sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you then. Warming centers in Middleton are expected to open up this week as bitterly cold temperatures are expected in the forecast. The following facilities listed on the screen will be designated as warming centers. City Hall Library and the Senior Center will be closed Monday due to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Middleton Police Department and the Fire Department will both be open to residents on Monday. For the exact addresses for the locations, those are listed on our website. Just head on over to channel3000.com. A teen is dead after a crash in Wyacina Sunday morning. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office said the crash occurred on West Bush Road at 7:30 a.m. A 16-year-old from Partyville was pronounced dead at the scene. The Sheriff's Office said speed appears to be a factor in the crash. An initial investigation showed the vehicle was westbound on West Bush Road, and as the vehicle was approaching Groth Road, it lost control and entered the ditch. Northward struck a tree. The driver was wearing her seatbelt. The investigation is ongoing. We are just one day away from Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and in the spirit of honoring Dr. King, the Urban League of Madison put on the 41st annual MLK Outstanding Young Person Breakfast. Our Merrill Hubbard went to Edgewood High School this morning to see what it means for these students to be recognized.
That's the sound of recognition, not just for Martin Luther King Jr., but for the students who model his legacy, like Nyla Nzegwu, a freshman at Memorial High School.
Honestly, it just felt so relieving. I don't know, personally, I feel like sometimes I get really nervous. I feel am I doing enough? Am I doing enough?
On Sunday morning, she got an Outstanding Young Person award.
So I feel I just got recognized, and that really took a weight off my shoulders, knowing that I'm okay and I'm doing good and I'm enough. So
Nyla is one of 300 students from 44 Madison schools who received this acknowledgement just one day before the MLK holiday.
We're talking and telling kids to have big dreams, to dream like Martin Luther King says, for a better future, for better careers.
Ruben Anthony is the president and CEO of Urban League of Madison.
And so it's an opportunity for the community to come together.
Staff members, parents, and students made up a crowd of 1,000 to cheer on each student who took the stage.
There are students that are taking on those leadership roles because they want to, they feel great and empowered to.
As Speaker Maya Pearson says, this recognition doesn't come from a letter grade or a score on a test.
And they're not necessarily looking for recognition.
Instead, this recognition is reserved for the students who lead with kindness, just because that's who they are.
I think I'm a really caring person. I love making sure people are okay, making sure people are happy, and just making sure the people around me are pushing themselves to be the better them.
Leading by example, showing kindness, and having a dream for a brighter future is what these youth do to continue Dr. King's legacy.
It shows how people are really getting brought together, and they're really getting recognized and how he wanted, because he wanted everyone together.
Reporting at Edgewood High School, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Merrill, thank you. After announcing all the Outstanding Young Person awards, speakers also gave out scholarships to 10 students from MMSD schools. A film that recognizes farmers and Packers fans is set to appear on the big screen on January 31st. Green and Gold, starring Craig T. Nelson, tells the story of a fourth-generation dairy farmer who places a bet for his beloved Green Bay Packers to win the Super Bowl to save his family's farm from foreclosure. And the producer of the film says the story was inspired by their Wisconsin ties.
We grew up in Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so just over the Wisconsin border. And yeah, our grandfather was a dairy farmer. We've had cousins that We grew up around cousins farming, and yeah, just the general culture up there is very, very much home and familiar to us.
The filming took 3 weeks at various farms in Door County. As we are inching closer to the start of a second Trump term, the outlook and opinions will vary from person to person. CBS News election correspondent Anthony Salvantano has more on the latest polls ahead of Inauguration Day.
Ahead of Donald Trump's inaugural, the CBS News poll finds there is majority optimism in the country about the next 4 years with Donald Trump as president. Now, put this in historical context, this 60%. CBS News poll has been tracking presidents for many, and look at how Trump compares a little more favorably than the last time he was inaugurated in 2017. A little more optimism there. But overall, you see that optimism for presidents, while still positive, isn't as high as it used to be before our hyper-partisan era. The other thing is what underpins that optimism. So much of it is about the economy. Take a look at this. People rate the economy now as majority bad, but they expect the economy in 2025 to be majority good. And those economic expectations are a big part of why Donald Trump won in the first place. So maybe not a surprise there. Specifically, look at how a big majority of Trump's voters and a lot of Americans overall expect his policies to get grocery prices to go down. So that sets up a key metric to watch going forward. And then overall, people, especially Donald Trump's voters, feeling like his policies will make them better off. So all about the economy there. Meanwhile, the outgoing president, Joe Biden, well, he is leaving with a retrospective evaluation of his presidency, and I'll slide over here, that is lower than any mark that he received in approval over the course of his term. You see, he started off fairly high in the 60s, but largely because of inflation, continued to dip lower where he stayed. And for Democrats, well, a lot of feelings here. They express concern about the state of U.S. politics, but also a lot feeling exhausted, even demoralized about the state of politics as you look at the political opposition going forward. But overall, it does come back to those economic measures. It comes back to the way in which people evaluate a president and why he won in the first place. Those are some of the metrics to watch as we go forward into Donald Trump's second term.
Coming up next on News 3 Now at 10, Blaze is back with a complete look of the forecast. And the ceasefire and hostage deal is underway as the first round of hostages are released. What we should expect in the coming days.
President-elect Donald Trump addresses thousands of supporters in Washington at his final rally before taking the oath of office Monday. I'm Erica Brown in Washington with more on the events rounding out Trump's pre-inaugural weekend.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
3 Israeli hostages were released Sunday as part of a long-awaited ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The move marks the first hostage release since the 42-day ceasefire went into effect Sunday morning. Romy Gonen, Doran Steinbacher, and Emily Damari have been held in Gaza since they were taken from Israel on October 7th in 2023. The Israeli military confirmed that Hamas has handed 3 hostages to the International Committee for the Red Cross in Gaza. The Red Cross has told the Israeli government that the 3 hostages are in good condition. President-elect Donald Trump will take the oath of office in the Capitol Rotunda tomorrow during his inauguration. Trump is already in the nation's capital, where he held one last rally before he becomes the president for the second time. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News that tens of thousands of visitors are expected to be in Washington in celebration of the inauguration. CBS News' Erica Brown reports from the nation's capital.
On the eve of his inauguration as the nation's 47th president, Donald Trump held a rally Sunday before thousands of supporters.
What a good feeling. We like winning, don't we? Huh? We're going to make our country greater than ever before. Hello, Washington, and Hello, America.
It is Trump's first major speech in D.C. since January 6, 2021, when he urged the crowd to go to the Capitol to protest the results of the 2020 election. This time, Trump returns to the White House with a wide margin victory and Republican control of the House and Senate.
It's so exciting to be a part of history, to be a part of the Republican history. I'm really looking forward to it.
Earlier, Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance each placed a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. Trump's motorcade then headed to a section of the cemetery where military personnel killed in Afghanistan and Iraq are buried. The president-elect's inauguration will be held indoors at the Capitol Rotunda because of frigid weather sweeping across the nation.
It'll just be on TV. It'll be kind of like watching it at home. I was really hoping to be able to be outside and be part of that where you're actually with Donald Trump, but didn't work out, and that's okay.
It's the first time the inauguration ceremony will be held indoors since 1985, when below freezing temperatures also forced Ronald Reagan's second inauguration inside the U.S. Capitol building.
Let's get a look at your first warn forecast. Meteorologist Blaze Keller joins us now. Blaze.
And it is going to be a cold couple of days here, but thankfully there is some relief, and it comes as early as Wednesday. That's when our high temperatures are at least double digits, back into those 20s and then further into the 30s by the upcoming weekend. And that's going to bring back some light snow chances across central and southern Wisconsin. But first, we got to get through at least Tuesday morning. That's how long our alert day conditions last. We touched on those wind chill values, expected to be anywhere between 30 to 40 degrees below zero Tuesday morning. But then the warmer temperatures return, and that allows us to maybe squeeze out a few snowflakes there Wednesday and Thursday. This is going to be more of that lighter snow, and as we look even ahead into the upcoming weekend, that's also looking to be more of that light, fluffy snow. If we take the European model and extend it all the way out to the end of our extended forecast, it doesn't look too promising for a lot of snow here across southern Wisconsin and central Wisconsin. We're looking at an inch at best, but most of us will probably only get a couple tenths of an inch, whereas north of the Dells and even north of La Crosse, getting up to maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow, closer to the UP, closer to that 4-inch mark. So we are likely going to end January 2025 on a not so great note in terms of snow totals. If we look at how much snow we've picked up this winter, though, from the start of December through today's date, we've got about 7.4 inches of snow in the Madison area. That's about half of where we usually should be for this time of year when we look at all the years and their data from the start of December through today and yesterday's date. The average is about 15 inches of accumulated snow. So we got a lot of ground to make up, and we will get some light snow. But as I said, and as we explained in our latest Beyond the Barometer, these strong areas of high pressure, especially with this latest round of Arctic air, is pushing a lot of these systems well off to our south, which is why stretching from Texas all the way east into parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, we've got either winter storm watches or winter storm warnings there in the pink. And then we even have those winter storm watches extended into parts of Georgia as well as Florida. Watch as that system brings snow to parts of the deep south. In fact, parts of Louisiana could pick up anywhere between 4 to 6 inches of snow. And again, it's all because this big area of high pressure continues to sit in this general area, pushing systems either to our north or, as we were just looking at, to our south. So once these high pressure systems either weaken or we kind of break down the jet stream setup where they come in out of Canada and really just plop themselves here, we're going to unfortunately be dealing with kind of the lack of snow, which is not good for obviously area farmers who are doing some winter crops, and obviously for landscapers who rely on these snowier months to continue their businesses. This is not good news by any means, but for folks who want to do some ice fishing, who want to get out on the ice, this is good news. So it's kind of a give and take, unfortunately, and we could get a lot of snow in February, March, and April as that jet stream kind of brings down some cooler air mixing in with some of that warmer air too. We do get more of that wet, heavy snow chances, but in the more short-term, light snow Wednesday, Thursday, and that's when we'll be back in those 20s, 30s by the upcoming weekend.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. Thank you. Coming up in sports, the Bucks look for their 4th straight win. Andrew has the highlights next on News 3 Now.
This time of year can be brutally quick.
Giannis is having yet another MVP-type season, and right now his Bucks are boiling hot. They've won 6 of their last 7 games and hosted the Philadelphia 76ers this evening, looking for their 4th straight win in a row. Early on in this one, Damian Lillard looking for the 3 from deep range. It's no good, but Giannis is there to put it back with authority. That's worth another look. Right time, right place for the Greek Freak, who finished with 15 rebounds and 34 points, including another vicious slam just before the break. Getting fancy with it, the reverse dunk. And when he's down low, just get out of the way. And then in the 4th, Damian Lillard, he really heated up from deep range, hit 3 threes. In the 4th quarter, he was locked in, finished with 25 points of his own. And the Bucks, they win it 123-109. Wisconsin men's basketball's biggest strength is their depth. The team's leading scorer, John Tonje, didn't score a single point yesterday, and it didn't stop the Badgers from beating USC by 15. John Blackwell stepped up with 28 points, while Max Klesmet and Nolan Winter combined for another 31. Despite the donut from John Tonje, the Badgers did not skip a beat, notching their 7th straight win, which Greg Gard said is just what good teams do.
It was not good for him not to score, but it shows us the versatility and depth of this team and having other players step up. And, that's I think the mark of a really, really good team is when your leading scorer doesn't score and you still win going away. So it's just a credit to the unselfishness of him, that he understood he just wasn't quite his night, but it was other guys' nights. And the most importantly, it was going to be Wisconsin's night.
To the NFL, where the Philadelphia Eagles and Zach Bond beat the Los Angeles Rams. That comes despite the snow and a late push from L.A. Saquon Barkley was the star. See him running there. He rushed for 2 touchdowns and over 200 yards on the ground. His Eagles will play the Commanders in the NFC title game next week. And on the AFC side, another instant classic. What a day in the NFL it was. The Bills and the Ravens, the NFL's 2 top MVP candidates, going at it. Baltimore just had too many costly mistakes. Josh Allen, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, bulldozing his way to a 27-25 Buffalo win. His Bills will go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs a week from tonight, right here on CBS. We'll be right back.
So, Andrew, now we got to preheat our cars. How much longer are we going to have to do this preheating stuff over the next few months?
Through at least Thursday. Morning wind chills are going to be cold, especially Tuesday, but they do get better on Wednesday. Double-digit highs starting Wednesday, single digits, Monday and Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thank you, Blaze, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.